games of the week. Okay, so Dave, I'll start with you. What is the game that you want to watch the most this weekend?
Last weekend, we got to see Denver's defense show up. We got to see the Indianapolis Colts, aka the Indiana Joneses, do what they haven't done in decades, which is pretty much score on every single drive. Now we actually get a real litmus test. They actually like to play a real NFL team, not a JV team coached by the clown in class. I'd love to have him as an offensive coordinator, but now you get to see what do the Colts do when Denver comes to town. I think it's going to be really interesting. I think that the Colts, they're actually built pretty intelligently. They have fantastic playmakers. They have an all-world tight end that Chicago really should have drafted.
Yep.
It was painful watching him. Doug has my reaction to when we drafted the other guy. The other guy might be good, but you got a man there at tight end in Indiana now. And yeah, Daniel Jones, he looked good a couple of years ago. Why he didn't look good in New York is he never had an offensive line. They never had anyone to throw to. And he's a scrambling quarterback. They have a slightly better line than what he had in New York. They had Saquon, but I don't think that they ever really had the wide receivers for him that he has in the Colts. He's still not going to be, top 15.
Yeah.
All he has to be is middle of the road, but it's going to be real tough against that Denver defense. You got those corners, you got that D line. The Denver offense, they look pretty terrible. And I think that the Colts defense, I think that they got some interesting pieces in there. I think that they have some good pass rush up there. They got some free agent acquisitions. All in all, they look good against the Dolphins. Dolphins didn't score until the fourth quarter, really. So I think that'll be a really interesting game just to see, just for a litmus test, what are these two teams actually.
I'm interested in that too, but I honestly think the Dolphins dysfunction is more cause for the Colts success than anything else. I think the Dolphins are just toast, and I think the Denver is going to roll them. Now, if Indianapolis wins this game or stays really close, then I'll start to pay attention. But I feel like that Dolphins game was just kind of like one of those crazy things. Like you said, they scored on every drive. That doesn't even happen with the best offenses in the NFL. No. Do you know what I mean? So there was something else to that game, and I think it might be Dolphins.
I'm not saying the Colts are a great team, but I just think it'd be interesting to see, are they middle of the pack?
It's a good litmus test.
It'd be an improvement.
I totally agree. I totally agree, because I have no faith in the Colts whatsoever. But if they keep it close or beat Denver, then I'll be like, you know what? Okay, maybe I was wrong.
I do.
Colts, right?
I've got faith in the Colts. I think they're going to beat the Broncos this weekend.
What?
I
live in Denver country.
I live in Denver, and I listen to Denver radio every morning. And they are talking like they're going to win the Super Bowl. Sean Payton's a genius. Now, they are very balanced, where they'll be like, he's also a maniacal genius. He's kind of an asshole and stuff, right? The Denver does a good job on the radio, but all of them are dark horse picking the Broncos to go to the Super Bowl. And I'm like, bro, you have a rookie quarterback coming in where people now have tape on him. Yes. And the eye test, he didn't look that great to me last year. You don't have that many playmakers on offense. Oh, you bring in Evan Ingram and now we're going to win a Super Bowl? I'm not really buying that. If you get elite offensive line play from the Broncos, yes, then they can do some things and cause trouble. But they didn't do so good last week. And I think that their offense was overrated last year. Bo Nix did great for a rookie, right? But now teams are looking at you and they're crossing you off on their list of hey, the Broncos are a team that we are now targeting. And that defense, is the thing is the defense keeps them in games, so it makes them just always close to the other team. But I think that offense is going to get exposed. Sean Payton only really was good when he had Drew Brees, who's a literally Hall of Fame quarterback, right? You take a Hall of Fame quarterback off his offense that can't process and do everything perfectly all the time, and they're not going to be doing so great. So I think the Colts are going to win this game.
To be fair, I think Bo Nix is the clone of Drew Brees, right? He's a Drew Brees clone. So I think Bo Nix is going to be okay. But I agree with you. I think this year Bo Nix is going to struggle, because this happens every year. Second year, they got tape on you. They know what you do in the NFL. They know the throws you can't make. They know the reads that you struggle with, and they study it all off season, and they throw it at you, and they throw it at you. So every year the second time you come out as a quarterback, you're going to see different
His
looks.
time to throw last year was amazing. He had all day in the pocket.
He did. And I don't think that's going to continue as much. And part of that is also the Peyton offense where it's quick passes, the nod, and then runs off the side.
But he could sit back in the pocket and then he could just scramble because he's just sitting there clean all day. You know what I mean?
No, dude, I love the call that the Broncos are going to lose. I love it. Okay. So what about, though, Doug, because you were saying that you were kind of interested in the Eagles and the Chiefs game. Do you think that's going to be an interesting game?
This is going to be super interesting. And normally I wouldn't care so much. I don't really like these teams, but this is the thing. We don't know if either of these teams are legit yet. The Chiefs just lost. They didn't look that great. Their defense doesn't look elite anymore.
Right.
So now, like, are the Chiefs just like a mid-team with a pretty good quarterback and maybe a pretty good defense? And you're going to have to go against the Chargers and all these other good teams. What are they going to do when they play the Bills and in Lamar? Like, they might get toasted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Eagles with Jalen Carter playing, and they looked like they were kind of not that great against the Cowboys last week. They still won, but the Cowboys easily could have beat them if they just caught those passes, right?
Yeah, if CeeDee Lamb catches those balls, I think
they're over with. The Cowboys would have beat them. So, like, bro,
at very least, it's tied, and we see what happens or something in overtime.
So now the question is, and they lost some players on the Eagles this year, the defensive line. If they don't have elite defensive line play, kind of like what we see from the Packers this year, if you take that away, are they still that good at linebacker and cornerback? Do they still have the best defense or one of the best defenses? I don't know. They might be very beatable. So on one side, this game might not teach us anything if both teams are not that good. But I think we're going to start to see, are these teams still as good as they were last year? I don't think that they will be. I think the Eagles are still pretty close to that, but I'm not scared of the Chiefs anymore.
I will say this about the Chiefs-Chargers game. If Harbaugh knows how to do anything, it's how to teach an offensive line. And the Chiefs blitz almost more than anybody. And part of the reason they've been so good is they haven't had great safeties. They did have good cornerbacks. Snead is gone now, though. They still got one good cornerback. But, like, their back end secondary has never been that great. It's been the defensive line and the blitzing that has kept other teams off balance. That's made that defense so good. And if you watch that Chargers game, like, there weren't a lot of blitzers that got through in that game. Like, the Chargers offensive line, to their credit, did a pretty dang good job. And Justin Herbert used his athleticism to get out of the pocket a couple times and create plays and run the ball. So I think the Chiefs got exposed in the sense that, like, they couldn't get a pass rush. And when you can't get a pass rush, you look like the Packers defense 2 years ago. Do you know what I mean? So, like, we know what that looks like. So, yeah, I think the Eagles offensive line is going to also negate it, just like it did in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And I think the Eagles might roll them. Now, does that mean I think the Chiefs are no good? No, that doesn't mean that. I mean, they played a divisional opponent who knows how to beat them, and they're going to play the Eagles who knows how to beat them. So if the Chiefs are 0-2, I'm going to celebrate, but I still think they're making the playoffs. Like, I still think the Chiefs are making the playoffs. Yeah. So
it'll just be fun to see them lose at home.
Yeah, it would be nice to see the Chiefs 0-2. I will say that, but, like, we'll see how the game goes, because they could turn it on. You never know, because the Eagles, like you said, didn't look that great on week 1 either.
And if the Chiefs somehow are able to win this game, it's probably because their defensive line can get to Jalen Hurts, and it might give a blueprint for other teams to beat the Eagles, because we just saw the Packers beat Jaden Daniels, like, and pretty much shut him down completely.
Hurts in that offensive line is different than Jaden.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
Hurts don't get rattled. You're talking before. You can never tell if he threw a pick or if he threw a touchdown. He goes down, sits down. He's the same man every play.
I appreciate that's like the next level. Like, the Eagles are another level above the Commanders.
And the Eagles are a power run team. Let's be awesome. Even though Jalen and Saquon are very athletic, they're both powerful runners, right? So, like, they have a different kind of running game than the Commanders definitely do. That's for sure. Because as good as Jaden Daniels is, power is not his jam. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like athleticism and things like that. Where, like, yeah, the Eagles use power to run you over, and we'll see how that goes against that Chiefs D line. But it did not go well for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They got absolutely destroyed. So, all right, so let's go on to the next game. And Dave didn't want to talk about it, but I want to talk about it. Let's talk Lions and Bears, because this is huge. Whoever goes 0-2 is going to start burning things. I can tell you that right now, right? And it's also the return of Ben Johnson to Detroit. Like, that's massive. True. Is Ben Johnson going to rip them apart because he knows everything about him?
He might.
Is Caleb going to lay an egg? Is Detroit going to be mad that they look terrible in week 1 and bite somebody's kneecap off? Like, what's going to happen? I'm really excited about this game, and I do think it's going to be a close game, because I do think, Dave, despite the Bears falling apart, that even though Caleb is the same quarterback, and FYI, folks, he's been the same quarterback for 3 years. His last year at USC was exactly the same. He's done the same thing. Caleb is what he is. Maybe Ben Johnson can fix that, but it's going to take a while. Don't just expect him to fix it week 1. Me and Dave said this before, 8, 9. By week 8 or 9, if Caleb's exactly the same, you're stuck. If he's made some improvements, then he's got potential. But my point is this, is that Ben Johnson's still going to write up some crazy stuff, and he's going to know how to mess with that team. And I think the Bears could sneak a win in Detroit. I think they could do it. I think the Bears could go in and Detroit could be 0-2, and they could be absolutely flipping out. Right? Like, I don't think Detroit is like the Chiefs. I think if Detroit starts 0-2, there is a good chance they miss the playoffs this year because their schedule is brutal, right? Oh, yeah. And their offensive line is not what it used to be. And we all talked about it when we watched the game against the Packers. Like, when Jared Goff is under pressure, he is a completely different quarterback. So I think this is a huge game. I think it is a must win. And that's silly to say in week 2, but I think this is a must win for Detroit, not just because they have to beat Ben Johnson, but because if they go 0-2 and 0-2 in the division, that's huge. That's huge. I think it's more detrimental to them than it is to the Bears. Because let's be honest, the offseason champs talk like they're going to win 11 games, but they always win 7 or 8, right? We know that. Dave knows that. Like, the Bears can still win 5 to 7.
Last year was this many.
I know. Well, you guys also had that 10-game losing streak, which was pretty crazy.
Can 4 of those be the Lions and the Vikings games? Okay.
I mean, maybe. I mean,
this is how many games the Packers lost in division. Just
Ben Johnson Ben Johnson's not going to be judged. If the Bears win 5 or 6 games, I don't think people are going to freak out about Ben Johnson. Okay, I don't think they are. I think they're going to give him another year. Right now, if the Lions win 6 or 7 games, then it's all going to be like, was Dan Campbell actually the reason the Lions were any good? Right? Was it the coordinators? Was it Dan Campbell? Are they no good anymore because they don't have that dominant offensive line? There's going to be all these questions. So, like, I think the Lions have a lot to play for.
The way that their ownership in the front office is structured is they're letting the GM and Dan Campbell make all the decisions. And I think that it's going to be like Sirianni had after he lost his coordinators. Even if they took a step back, I don't think that he has anything to worry about. I think that Spielman is there, and he has all of the belief in them. And they got talent. I really believe in the talent. And one of the things that you could see, the Packers defense was amazing. They flew all over the place. One of the things that Ben Johnson is great at is finding all of those quick passes, quick openings inside of his zone and whatnot. So a lot of his passes are before the chains, which is what Detroit tried to do against Green Bay. Unfortunately, with his the guy who followed him, he doesn't quite have the scheming down necessarily. So he didn't really know, okay, I want to run this play and then this play to ensure that I have this gap here or there. Right. So Johnny Morton, he's still learning on the fly. It's finally his turn to call his shots.
So, no, and I agree with you. I don't think Dan Campbell has any risk. If the Lions win 2 games, he's not losing his job. Do you know what I'm saying? They'd be a fool to fire him. But what I'm saying is like the mystique of what the Lions have been is a little bit under fire. That's all I'm saying, right? Because
the mystique is, but I'm going to say, just like you had to give Ben Johnson, 8 weeks to get Caleb up to stuff. I think it'll take Morton that long to just kind of get familiar with, okay, what plays do I need to call when?
Figure out the art form of play calling.
Exactly.
Okay, very good. I like it.
The Bears have the cornerbacks. I don't know if like Johnson's going to play this week, but if their cornerbacks can really make it tough for the Lions receivers, the Bears could win this game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Johnson's and Kyler Gordon's out, but we do have our linebacker back. So
okay.
It should be a fun matchup. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And me and my 7-year-old, we got the pizza ready and everything else. He never really cared to watch football, but he's looking forward to cheering against Dad's team because he's a Lions fan.
Oh, he's a Lions fan.
Yeah.
Wait. So there's a Lions fan, a Vikings fan, and a Bears fan in your house?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yes.
So your youngest has to be a Packer fan now, right? That's going to happen.
Purple is her favorite color.